Friday rolls on an RKW brewed up by 8th and Rose, streaming live at 104.5 The Zone TV. And immediately after the show ends, wherever you download podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Google Play, 1045thezone.com, 615-737-1045. What is the comp for Will Levis? We love throwing out Josh Allen. Seems like any big quarterback who throws a lot of picks but also throws a lot of touchdowns sidearm gets compared to Josh Allen. Is that the best comparison for Will Levis, or is it time to look elsewhere for a different comparison? I've got one short-term QB and one long-term QB that I think the Titans should make Will Levis become starting in 2024. But I'm curious first what you guys think. Who is the best comp for Will Levis?
Kaylee, you want to go first? I'll go first. It don't matter to me on this one. I have mine and it somewhat lines up. What do you want to do? Rock, paper, scissors for it, Kaylee?
Oh, go for it. You spoke first. Go for it.
All right, for sure. For me, I think it's short-term and long-term for both of them. And not to say that his talent is what they thought this guy's was or should be, but right now with what his team is doing, it looked like it's in that trajectory. And that guy for me, Trevor Lawrence.
Ooh, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Trevor Lawrence. Short term because it's the exact same pathway that he had to deal to. Now, Vrabel wasn't an Urban Meyer or anything like that, but Vrabel was also let go the same way his rookie head coach was let go in Jacksonville. Had a losing record his rookie year. So does Will Levis as a starter, right? They are making changes to build around Will Levis the same way they are trying to with Trevor Lawrence. I think Trevor Lawrence and Will Levis possess some of the same things as far as their mindset about the game. They want to be playmakers. They have strong arms. They are very athletic. You got to tell them time and time again, protect yourself. And they both, for the most part, have had somewhat of turnover issues. Although Levis is more of him just trying to be a superhero. Trevor Lawrence falls on the back to me of him just trying to do too much at times, or somehow he can't hold on to the ball when he's been sacked. So I look at their situations. If you get them a defense, which Jacksonville is building, and if you get them weapons, and it looked weird when they went out and got a suspended wide receiver, right? Or a tight end that looks to be a stud coming down the pipeline in the very near future, right? When you view those things, when it comes down to what Trevor Lawrence has done for Jacksonville, as it stands right now, he's 20-30 as a starter. But you also have to look at that situation and say that was because they had a bad record under Urban Meyer, and he's still young and growing. I look at his career and say Trevor Lawrence is probably who he lines up most with and should be competing against for a very long time if he does the stuff he's supposed to. Trevor Lawrence.
Very interesting. I like it.
Not what I would have thought, but I don't mind it.
It's a
Does it make sense?
It makes
sense.
You did a good thing in terms of laying it out like that, because I wouldn't have guessed that. But how you kind of put that on there, I'm like, okay, I see that.
Appreciate that. I do some cool stuff every once in a while.
You're always out of the box, and I appreciate that, because I'm probably more in the box on this, but I want to explain why I believe this still. Because coming out of the draft, like Will said, he was compared to Josh Allen a lot. Really, the physical stature of him, a bigger guy, a taller guy, physical guy, which we've all seen from Will Levis since he's gotten the nod in terms of getting the start here in Tennessee. Like, this is a guy who plays with a lot of passion. He uses his body sometimes a little bit more to his advantage than he should. But I'm okay with that if you learn to use your body and use your legs in the right moments and know when to slide. And I think that's what you are able to get from Will Levis this last year. Like, he can learn from those moments that made you scratch your head a little. Why I still kind of compare him to Josh Allen, and in terms of what Josh Allen is doing now, is with the right people around Josh Allen, I feel like you could be a quarterback who is going to be able to lead your team to the playoffs. And I feel like Josh Allen, with all the ups and downs he's had in the past with, having great play at moments, but then the interceptions have become an issue. Since Joe Brady has been promoted to offensive coordinator, I feel like they've had this offense clicking a little more than in years past, right? They're on the same page a little more. And you look at what Josh Allen does, he's relied on to do things in big moments. And I think quarterback Will Levis here for the Titans will have to do the same thing if this team is going to get to a Super Bowl. I think you're going to have to rely on Will Levis to be in those big moments and to make plays. I also like the fact that what you're seeing out of James Cook there is similar to what you could see paired up with Tajay Spears and Will Levis in the future, with, having the help of a guy like that that's so versatile, who can be a pass receiver, who also is obviously going to run the ball here. And we've seen such good things out of him. I think that duo, like we've seen with Cook and Allen this year, could be really beneficial too to what this team could do in the future.
I like it. I definitely like it. And I think in terms of his mobility, Josh Allen, from an athleticism standpoint, is the best comparison for Will Levis. I mean, Mike Keith said it on our show last year before the Titans played the Bills. Josh Allen is a single-wing tailback from back in the day who in 2024 plays quarterback. Yeah. Best way to describe him. I'm going to go, I'm going to have a little bit of a cop-out here, but I promise you, bear with me, it's going to make sense. I have a short-term and a long-term aim for Will Levis. And in 2024, guys, I'm going to throw something out at you. I'm workshopping this opinion. And the more I dive into it, the more I think it makes sense. The best-case scenario for the Tennessee Titans in 2024 is to be the Green Bay Packers. Jordan Love is my short-term comparison for Will Levis. Mm-hmm. My long-term comparison is Matthew Stafford on the quarterback that I think Will Levis needs to turn into. And I have one specific reason why. In 2023, on passing attempts of more than 30-plus yards, the top three quarterbacks share something very important in common. Number one was Brock Purdy, 31 passing attempts of 30-plus yards. Number two, Matthew Stafford, 28 passing attempts of 30-plus yards. Number three, Jordan Love, 27 passing attempts of 30-plus yards. What is the one thing those three quarterbacks have in common? They all come from offenses derived from the Shanahan, McVay, and LaFleur coaching tree. And I think that is the direction the Titans are heading when you look at the candidates they're interviewing and you look at Rand Carthon's experience in San Francisco. That is where the Titans are heading. They want to be Silicon Valley, San Francisco, fun, entertaining, analytics-driven offensive football. Jordan Love, to me, is the short-term comparison because look at all of his weapons that he had at his disposal this past season when he was second in QBR over the second half of the year. Aaron Jones at running back is the comp for Tajay Spears. People that have talked about Tajay Spears over the last year and a half, when you speak about him, they say, we think he is a younger Aaron Jones. That is as good of a comparison as you could make for what Tajay Spears is coming in as the 1A running back for the Titans in 2024. But look at their top four pass catchers starting for them this weekend when they go to San Francisco to take on Brock Purdy, Kyle Shanahan, and San Fran. Romeo Doubs, second-year wide receiver out of Nevada. Dontavian Wicks, rookie out of Virginia. Jaden Reed, rookie out of Michigan State. And tight end Luke Musgrave, a rookie out of Oregon State. Guys, there is a scenario for the Titans next year where you are throwing, if you're Will Levis, to all first and second year weapons in your offense. Josh Wiley at tight end, Chig Okonkwo in his third season, Traylon Burks in his third season, maybe DeAndre Hopkins. I'd say that's a toss-up right now until we know who the head coach is. And then whoever else you are able to add in free agency or in the draft at wide receiver as well. So you think about a team that has all young players, has a young, unproven quarterback who this time last year, we didn't know what Jordan Love was. We had no idea he was going to turn into this. Best case scenario is in the second half of the season, the Titans get hot because Will Levis is the guy, and the first and second year weapons they took risks on turn out to be good. I know I'm rambling and I'm long-winded here, but again, bear with me. Matthew Stafford long-term to me makes the most sense because of the Liam Cohen and the Sean McVay connection. Mm-hmm. And if Liam Cohen is on this staff next year, it's because, A, the Titans want to take Will Levis's junior year, extrapolate that over the course of an entire career, and they want to recreate what Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay have had in L.A. Matthew Stafford is mobile, but not a runner. He's not quite Josh Allen in the way they use him, but they roll him out of the pocket. He can throw from different arm slots. The sidearm is there. The deep ball is there. When Matthew Stafford is at his best, it's because the Rams are running the football well, they're accurate in play action, and he is bombing the football down the field to those wide receivers. That is where Matthew Stafford is at his best. I think Will Levis and Matthew Stafford is the perfect one-to-one comparison on who they want him to be.
Yeah.
Down the road, you're saying. When
Right.
a little bit growth and maturity and everything. Yes, 100%. The other thing that you're getting to from, I think, all the teams that we've brought up is balance also.
Yeah.
It's not just heavily relied upon the quarterback in their arms. I think all of us mentioned the weapons that both these offenses have. And not just that, the defensive side of it too. Green Bay, to your point, Will, about saying about Jordan Love being the guy too, is also supported by a defense. They have balance on both sides of it. So when you're talking about building something that's sustainable, as far as these teams go and these quarterbacks and how you support them, the same way that we rave about how good a coach is, the coaches are only as good as his players. The quarterback is only as good as his supporting cast too. And you mentioned those running backs on all the teams that we have. You mentioned the wide receivers that you don't know. This is what a quarterback to me shines in all of these moments right here, is if you can get those wide receivers, to your point about Green Bay, their leading wide receivers, Jaden Reed, Romeo Dobbs, Dontavius Wicks, and Christian Watson. The true test of a quarterback is if you take those names and nobody knows a household name and you make them household names.
Mm-hmm.
Quarterbacks, to me, that's where the biggest check mark is made. How many guys did you get paid? And you look here in Nashville, okay, real quick. How many guys have the quarterbacks in Nashville gotten wide receivers paid?
I mean, the only one that's gone elsewhere and gotten paid is Corey Davis with the Jets.
There we go.
And that was Ryan Tannehill that got him that. And then A.J. Brown went somewhere else and got paid. But again, that wasn't even free agency. That was a trade that after the trade was made, then the contract was signed.
I wanted to bring up, too, because I like what you're talking about with Jordan Love. The one thing that I'll say about that in terms of Jordan Love and the growth, that he's been able to have that opportunity to grow as a quarterback. And that's so rare in this day and age. It really does make you wonder, how much did he really get out of that with being the backup for those 3 seasons?
Right.
I think because we're seeing him now so much more mature, and it's not like he's 28 years old. It's not like he wasted his whole career behind the bench. How much do you see from a guy like that actually got to learn a little bit under a guy like, Aaron Rodgers? Will Levis got a little bit of an option or a chance to do that here behind Ryan Tannehill. He was thrown in pretty quickly, 6 games in. But I do always wonder that, and I don't know if we'll ever know, how much was he able to really fully develop as a quarterback?
And honestly, you can make the argument too, real quick, Ramon, that the best comp for Will Levis is when Ryan Tannehill was dealing as the quarterback of the Tennessee Titans. Will Levis has spoken about that just in the lead up to the draft, that he admired Ryan Tannehill. And I think that was the best case scenario for Rand Carthon and Mike Vrabel and Amy Adams-Strunk was you've got a year of Tannehill to allow Levis to take a redshirt year, maybe even a second one. If Ryan Tannehill had been good this year, you probably would have brought him back in something short term in 2024. Obviously, he wasn't great. He couldn't play behind this line. The issues are well documented. But I agree with you, Kayla. That would have been the ideal scenario is Levis sits for a year plus behind Ryan.
Yeah. And Kayla, you mentioned, as far as Jordan Love concerned, it's not like he wasted away. You're right. Here's the thing, too, about all of those quarterbacks is it's about 3 years. And here's the thing. We can't microwave their development as fast as we wanted to. There will probably be a little bit of a drawback with some, you're going to see more veteran-like things for him. You expect to see more veteran-like things for him in year 3. Just looking at Trevor Lawrence's career so far, rookie year is very friggin' similar to where Will Levis was.
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence, over 17 games, his completion percentage was 59.6%. If I'm not mistaken, Will Levis is about 58%.
58, yep.
The second year jump for Trevor Lawrence is 66.3% with over 4,000 yards passing. And that's the year last year they won the AFC South. He had 25 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. This year's a little bit of a drawback, dropped about 0.5% at 65.6%, 4,000 yards. But here's where he had a step back. And I think that's where you got to grow and mature a little bit more as a quarterback. He has this year in 16 games because of injuries, and he didn't complete almost every game. Well, some of those games, either in the 16 out of 17. But he had 21 touchdowns and 14 interceptions. That interception number going up right there is what became more bothersome for him. But also, when you win the AFC South, when you get good, you think you're supposed to do more. You got to let your weapons grow for you in these moments like that. And I think that's where Trevor Lawrence has to grow. And I hope that's also where Will Levis, when he gets better and gets the offensive coordinator and weapons around him, that you realize just find your guy, let them work for you, and take whatever's in front of you. You ain't got to be a hero every single time that you're out there. And I think that's what Trevor Lawrence failed to this year, which also I think correlated to his injuries too.
Well, I agree. Ramon, I think the injuries had a significant reason on why he maybe took a step back. Maybe he was even trying to do too much with those injuries, right? And so I don't think you can just take this year and be like, oh, this is a quarterback who's not going to move in the right direction. I just feel like he's been such a tough player in the past, had never missed like a game at Clemson. He had that mindset. Now we're in the league. Like, this is the big boys club. You got to learn that when you got an injury, sometimes you got to just take some time off so it doesn't get worse.
Yep, absolutely.
It is just interesting, too. You talk about the hero ball thing, too. And for Trevor Lawrence, how much of his career will forever be tainted by Urban Meyer? How many of the issues he's having now are because he had Urban? Or is this just maybe him not being as much of a can't-miss prospect as we expected?
That first year was terrible.
Yeah.
They went 3-14 that first year. And you got to think about this. That first impression, people always bring that up, right? As far as his growth and development, and getting behind and under that stench right there may take a little bit longer. That's the reason they're questioning Peterson and Jacksonville right now, because, it's supposed to all be cured.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen that quick.
I think, too, the last point to make on that and why I like the Trevor comparison is the Titans could go on a spending spree the way the Jaguars did 2 years ago this offseason when they brought in Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, and Calvin Ridley all at the same time, and Evan Ingram. I mean, there's a chance you could add you could go the Packers direction and have all first and second year guys, or you could draft, or you could assign all of them. But I like both your comparisons. They're good.
Good stuff.
Coming up, more news this morning that just broke on who the Titans will interview today. Details next.